Ammo shelves are drying up again. And no, this isn't just déjà vu from 2020. Some of the most popular calibers are vanishing fast in 2025, and if you're not paying attention, you could be left empty-chambered when it counts. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Sully from Line 45, and today I'm breaking down exactly which rounds are gradually disappearing and what you need to do right now before they're gone for good. Before anything else, let me do this quick plug. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, all the buttons that you can see below. Don't forget to leave a comment too. I know it feels like a hassle, but those things help my channel a lot. Now let's get back to the good stuff. 30-30 Winchester. I'll tell you right now, if you've ever carried a lever gun in the woods, odds are you've slung a box of 30-30 Winchester into your pack more times than you can count. I grew up hunting whitetail with a hand-me-down Marlin 330 E6, and that gun practically breathed 30-30. But nowadays, trying to find a fresh box of 30-30 in 2025 feels like trying to spot a 10-point buck on opening day. It's rare and getting rarer. The thing is, 30-30 isn't dead, it's just being ignored. It's a rimmed bottleneck cartridge specifically made for lever-action rifles with tubular mags, which means you're not tossing it into your AR or bolt-action rig. Most loads hover between 150 to 170 grains with flat or round-nose bullets that are safe to stack in tubular mags. You can find Hornady's Lever Evolution rounds, which use polymer-tipped bullets to boost velocity and extend range. But even those are drying up fast, especially in the smaller shops. Last I saw, a basic box of .30-30 soft points ran me close to 45 Weisslers, and that was on sale. Ammo makers right now are chasing what sells, namely the likes of 9mm 5.56, 308, and 6.5 Creedmoor. So rounds like 30 or 30 that only work in older, more specialized rifles are getting shoved to the back of the line. Remington's bankruptcy a couple of years ago didn't help either. Marlin lever guns stopped rolling off the line for a while, and that put a dent in demand for 30-30. Ruger's got Marlin back up and running now, but their first wave of rifles mostly chambered in 45-70, not 30-30. I walked into a big box store last month, and their rifle ammo shelf had every flavor except 30-30. And when you do find it, it's either overpriced or dusty stock that's been sitting for a while. As someone who still hunts with a lever gun, that's a tough pill to swallow. So yeah, if you've got a rifle that runs .30-30, now's the time to stack deep. Because once hunting season rolls in good luck, finding it without paying scalper prices. And if you think 30-30 is bad, wait till we talk about .410 bore, because it's getting cleaned out even faster. .410 bore. I didn't think much of it the first time I couldn't find a box of .410 bore at my local shop. I figured it was just a fluke. But by the third trip, hitting every shelf from the big chains to the mom-and-pop store down the road, I knew something was up. This little shell, once easy to overlook, has become one of the hardest to find. In 2025, and if you've got a Taurus Judge S&W Governor or a Slick Henry .410 lever gun, like I do, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The 410's been around a long time, mostly used for small game snakes or as a youth trainer. It's light on recoil and doesn't beat you up like a 12 gauge. I've used it for everything from pest control on the property to introducing my nephew to shooting. And with the right loads, especially those newer TSS turkey rounds, it punches way above its weight class. But those same TSS shells, they're damn near impossible to find now. And when you do, you're staring at $8 to $10 a shell. Yeah, per shell, not per box. A big part of this shortage is how ammo makers are choosing their battles. They've got limited production lines and raw material costs are through the roof. So what do they pump out 12 and 20 gauge .223? Need more, which are all the big movers. The .410 gets sidelined. And then throw in the handgun crowd, which admittedly folks tend to snatch up Judge and Governor loads for personal defense. That's eaten into supply like crazy, especially for .410 buckshot and defensive loads, which used to sit on shelves collecting dust, and now sell out before they're even unboxed. And the sad part, there's no clear timeline for when this gets better. Some gun stores tell me they get one shipment a month, or maybe two. It's gotten so bad that I've started reusing hulls and hand-loading .410 just to keep my lever gun fed. So if you've got a scatter gun or wheel gun that runs .410, do yourself a favor, buy it when you see it, because it might not be there tomorrow. Next up, though, if you think this is ugly, wait till we dive into the 5.7 by 28 mm. That one's gone from hot to ghosted, real quick. 5.7 28 mm. The first time I shot a 5.7 by 28 mm, I was at an indoor range with an FN57, and man, it felt like cheating. Flat trajectory, almost no recoil, and the round zipped right through targets like a laser. I walked out thinking, yeah, I need one of these in my life. So when Ruger dropped their 5.7 pistol at a way more affordable price, I jumped on it. But here's the kicker, I can't keep the damn thing fed. In 2025, this round's become one of the hardest to get your hands on, and it's driving shooters like me up the wall. See, the 5.7 by 28 Multers was never designed for the masses. FN made it for military and law enforcement use. Compact size, high velocity armor penetration, and mag capacity that puts 9mm to shame. But with the civilian market heating up, thanks to Ruger PSA and now Smith & Wesson tossing their hats in the ring, everyone seemed to be wanting it. The problem is that the ammo makers didn't scale up. FN makes some. Federal's got their American Eagle 40-grain FMJ. Speer does a great gold dot load. But that's about it, and production runs are tiny and inconsistent. I remember finding a box of Federal AE a few months ago and feeling like I'd won the lottery. It's about $53 for $50 rounds, and I bought two figuring I'd come back the next week for more. Rookie mistake, it was wiped clean in 2 days, and I haven't seen a box on shelves since. Even online, the stuff goes out of stock in hours. And the defensive loads. Good luck. Some guys are paying $70 to $80 a box just to keep a few mags loaded. The worst part is this round's too good not to use. I love the way it shoots. But the headache of tracking it down, the cost, and the inconsistency of supply make it feel like a luxury caliber these days, when it really shouldn't be. If you've got a 5.7 pistol or carbine, don't get comfortable. When you see ammo, scoop it up. Because once it's gone, it's usually gone for weeks or months. Now hang tight, because next we're talking about .300 Blackout subsonic, a round built for suppression that's now being suppressed by empty shelves. 300 Blackout subsonic. I've always been a sucker for suppressed shooting. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it just feels clean. That's what got me into the 300 Blackout subsonic in the first place. I built out a short-barreled AR platform with a suppressor and started running 220-grain subsonic loads, mostly from Sig Sauer and Cellular and Bellet. First few months, pure joy. The thump of those heavy rounds cycling through suppressed was like music. But now in mid-2025, finding a subsonic .300 Blackout is like chasing a ghost. This round was tailor-made for suppressed setups. It runs heavy, usually 200 to 220 grains, with a muzzle velocity of under 1 orzo 50 frames per second, which keeps it below the sound barrier. That means it is whisper quiet when paired with a good can. But here's the issue. Subsonic .300 Blackout isn't mass-produced like standard 5.56 or 9mm. It's specialty stuff. Fewer manufacturers make it, and when production slows down like we're seeing now, boom, it vanishes. A year ago, I was paying maybe $28 to $32 for a box of 20. Now I'm seeing boxes push past $45 if you can even find them. Online retailers either slap a notify me sign on everything or jack the prices sky high. And forget about your local gun store. They might carry one box of supersonic $300, but subsonic is usually gone since last Tuesday. And I can't just ignore the component crunch. Subsonic bullets are heavier, which means they require different powders and often specific primers to get consistent performance. Reloaders are feeling the pinch too, and a lot of them are hoarding brass and bullets rather than selling off spare stock. It sucks because this round was built for fun, for stealth, and for versatility. Home defense, hog hunting, range time, you name it. But right now, you basically need to hunt for ammo before you can even go hunt with ammo. If your setup relies on 300 Blackout subsonic, my advice is simply start stacking it like it's toilet paper in 20s, because by fall it's going to be even thinner on shelves. But don't go anywhere, because the last one on this list is a round that should be common, but is quietly fading fast. The legendary .45 Colt. 45 Colt. Do you ever own a revolver that just feels right in your hand? That was the first time I shot a .45 Colt out of a Ruger Vaquero. Big boom, slow push, and recoil that felt more like a firm handshake than a punch. There's something about that fat old-school cartridge that makes you respect it. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it's got history-stopping power and cowboy charm baked into every shot. And now it's quietly vanishing off the shelves in 2025, and hardly anyone's talking about it. See, the 45 Colt, or .45 Long Colt, as most folks still call it, isn't some trendy caliber. It's been around since 1872, made for the original Colt single-action army, and kept alive by cowboy action shooters, wheel gun fans, and those of us who still appreciate the extra thump of a big-bore revolver. I've run it through single actions, double actions, and even lever rifles like the Henry Big Boy, and it's a blast, literally and figuratively. But lately, finding it feels like I'm asking for moon rocks. A standard 20-round box of 45 Colt will cost you north of $50, and hunting or self-defense loads can get more expensive. I've seen boxes of buffalo boar or underwood go for over $70 to $80. And again, it comes back to demand and production. Ammo makers are pushing out 9mm, 10mm, .3x57, and .44 mag way ahead of .45 Colt simply because more people shoot those. 45 Colt is a legacy round, and in a market obsessed with polymer pistols and red dots, it's easy for companies to overlook the old cowboy calibers. Worse still, the few runs that do hit shelves gone almost instantly. Online stock alerts are useless. By the time you click, they're out. Gun shops get maybe a box or two, and most of that ends up behind the counter, sold to regulars before it ever touches the shelf. So if you're like me and still carry a 6-shooter loaded with .45 Colt, or just love a weekend at the range with that smooth, heavy thump, you better buy it when you see it. Because this one's not just disappearing, it's riding off into the sunset. All right, now you know the truth. But knowing is just the first step. The real question is, what do you do before it's too late? Well, let me walk you through what I've learned the hard way. First things first, stock up, smart not scared. I'm not saying you should go full doomsday prepper and hoard 10,000 rounds. But if there's a caliber you rely on regularly, whether it's for hunting home defense or just weekend range days, grab 2 to 3 boxes every chance you get. Don't wait until hunting season, because that's when everyone starts panic buying and prices go through the roof. Second, build a network. Talk to your local gun shop guys. Get to know them. I can't tell you how many times I've scored a box of 5.7 or .410 just by getting a call from a buddy behind the counter, giving me a heads up before it ever hits the shelf. Small shops appreciate regulars, and being on a first-name basis can absolutely get you early access to scarce inventory. Third, don't sleep on online stock trackers. Sites like AmmoSeek, WikiArms, and even forum boards like ARFCom and Sniper's Hide have helped me score ammo I couldn't find locally. Set up alerts. Be ready to buy. When a box of Hornady 6.5 Creedmoor pops up at 2 a.m., you've got to move fast because someone else will. If you're into reloading, now's the time to get serious. Even if you're just starting out, grabbing brass primers and powders now gives you options later. Some of the rare calibers, like .45 Colt and .300 Blackout subsonic, are more available in component form than factory loads. If you've got the gear, you've got the power to keep shooting. And finally, don't fall for panic prices. There's always someone online trying to flip a $40 box of ammo for $120. Don't reward that. Be patient, stay plugged in, and act when it makes sense. Because here's the truth. When shelves go bare, it's the folks who planned ahead that keep shooting.